My mother destroyed my wedding dress. You can't look prettier than your sister. She must be the one to stand out. But then my grandmother walked in. My child, did the dress I got married in fit you? My mother turned pale, and all hell broke loose. My name is Sophia. I'm 28 years old, and for my entire life, I have been the invisible daughter, the one who was never enough, the one who always came in second place. I have an older sister, Camila, who is 32. For as long as I can remember, she has been my mother's absolute favorite, the beautiful one, the talented one, the one who deserved all the attention, all the love, all the resources. Our family history is complicated. My father left us when I was 5 and Camila was 9. He simply didn't come home one day. My mother, Patricia, never remarried, and honestly, she never worked again either. Why should I work if your grandmother supports us? She once told me with complete casualness, as if it were the most logical thing in the world to live off someone else's generosity without even trying to stand on her own 2 feet. And it's true. My maternal grandmother, Dona Mercedes, has supported us our entire lives. My grandmother is 78 years old and is the strongest woman I know. She was widowed 10 years ago, and my grandfather left her good investments and properties. She isn't a millionaire, but she has enough to live comfortably and help her family. We live in a 3-bedroom house that belongs to my grandmother. She lent it to us over 20 years ago when my father left. So my girls can have a roof over their heads, she said at the time. In addition to lending us the house, my grandmother sends my mother $1,500 a month for household expenses. She also directly pays all the utility bills: electricity, water, gas, internet. In total, my grandmother subsidizes approximately $2,000 a month to support us. My mother never looked for a job. I have to take care of my daughters, was her constant excuse, even though I didn't really need to be taken care of anymore. Camila didn't work either. She graduated from college with a degree in fashion design 10 years ago but never worked in her field. I'm waiting for the right opportunity, she would say. I'm not going to accept just any mediocre job. I have talent, and I deserve something on my level. In the meantime, she lived off the $500 my grandmother sent, which my mother generously gave to her, because Camila needs to keep up a good appearance for when her big break comes. I, on the other hand, started working at 18, first in clothing stores, then in restaurants, while studying business administration at a public university. I graduated at 23 and got a job as an administrative coordinator at a medium-sized company. I was now earning $2,200 a month. Sophia, your sister is so elegant. Why don't you dress up more like her? Sophia, why can't you be more sociable like Camila? She has so many friends. Sophia, Camila has so much potential. You, well, at least you have a stable job. All my life, I heard comparisons. All my life, I was the second choice. The Plan B daughter. The only person who ever made me feel valued was my grandmother. I visited her every week at her apartment across town. We would have tea and talk about everything and nothing. She would ask me about my work, my dreams, my plans. She truly listened to me, she truly saw me. You're my hard-working girl, she would tell me with pride. The one who strives, the one who doesn't wait for things to fall from the sky. You're special, Mija. Don't let anyone make you feel less. With her, I wasn't invisible. With her, I mattered. A year ago, I met David. He's an engineer, works at a construction company, and is the kindest, most genuine person I've ever met. We fell in love quickly. 8 months into our relationship, he proposed. It was simple but beautiful. A dinner at home, soft music, and a simple but meaningful ring. I want to spend my life with you, he told me, with tears in his eyes. I want to build a home with you, a family, a future. I said yes without hesitation. When I got home that night with the ring on my finger, my mother and Camila were in the living room watching TV. I'm getting married, I announced with a huge smile, showing them the ring. My mother looked at the ring, then at me, and her expression was strange. Not happy, not excited. She seemed almost annoyed. "Oh," she said finally. "Good for you. That's it?" I asked, my smile fading. "Good for me? What do you want me to say?" my mother replied. "Congratulations. I hope you're happy." But her tone was flat, without any genuine emotion. Qley looked at the ring with an expression I can only describe as pure envy. "It's small," she commented. "I guess for your level, it's fine." "Qley," I said, feeling the familiar pang of pain that always came with her cruel comments. "I thought you'd be happy for me." "I am," she said, without conviction. "I'm just saying that, well, when I get married, it will be something much bigger, more special. You know, something worth remembering." My mother nodded. "Your sister is right. When she gets married, it will be the wedding of the year. But well, to each their own." I went to my room feeling like cold water had been thrown on me. Why couldn't they just be happy for me? The next day, I went to visit my grandmother. When I showed her the ring and told her about the proposal, she cried with joy. "Oh, my child, what happiness," she said, hugging me tightly. "David is a good man. I've seen you two together, and it's obvious he loves you. I'm truly happy for you." "Thank you, Grandma," I said, crying too. "It means so much to me." "Have you started planning the wedding yet?" she asked excitedly. "Barely," I admitted. "We want something nice, but not too expensive. We're both saving up." "What style of wedding do you want?" my grandmother asked, her eyes sparkling. "Well," I said shyly. "I've always loved the vintage style, you know, like the weddings of the past, elegant, classic, romantic. I love the old wedding photos you've shown me." My grandmother smiled widely. "Then I have something perfect for you." She took me to her bedroom and opened her enormous antique wardrobe. From the back, she pulled out a large box wrapped in tissue paper. "This," she said reverently, "is the dress I married your grandfather in 55 years ago." She opened the box, and inside was the most beautiful dress I had ever seen. It was made of delicate white lace, with three-quarter sleeves, a high neckline, and a skirt that flowed elegantly. 60s style, absolutely perfect for the vintage wedding I dreamed of. "Grandma," I whispered, touching the soft lace. "It's gorgeous." "It's yours if you want it," she said, with tears in her eyes. "It would be an honor for me if you wore it at your wedding." "Are you sure?" I asked, overwhelmed with emotion. "Completely sure," she said, closing my hands over the box. "This dress should be worn by someone who understands its value, who respects its history. That someone is you." I cried as I tried it on. It fit me perfectly, as if it had been made for me. "You look like a princess from another era," my grandmother said, wiping away her tears. "Your grandfather would be so proud to see you." In addition to the dress, my grandmother insisted on contributing $8,000 to the wedding. "For the venue, the food, whatever you need," she said. "I want you to have the perfect day." With her $8,000 and our savings of $7,000, we had $15,000 for the wedding. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough for something beautiful and intimate. The next few months were a whirlwind of planning. David and I booked a beautiful venue, hired an excellent caterer, a photographer, live music, everything with the classic 1960s wedding theme. I gave invitations to my mother and Qley a month before the wedding. "I hope you can come," I said, handing them the elegant envelopes. My mother took the invitation without enthusiasm. "Of course, we'll be there." "Is the dress code formal?" Qley asked, reading the invitation. "Because I have a new dress I want to debut. It's very expensive, very elegant. I'm going to look beautiful." "Yes, formal," I said, ignoring her comment about outshining me at my own wedding. I'll go because your grandmother asked me to, my mother said finally. You know she pays for everything for us. It would be rude not to go. Not because she loved me, not because she wanted to see me happy, but only out of obligation to my grandmother. I swallowed the pain and nodded. I understand. A week before the wedding, my grandmother called to tell me she would arrive a day early to help with the final preparations. I want to be there with you, my child, she said, to help you get ready, to give you my blessing properly. I'll stay at the house that night. I'd love that, Grandma, I said excitedly. My mother didn't look very happy when I told her my grandmother was staying over, but she couldn't say no. After all, it was my grandmother's house. Finally, the wedding day arrived. Saturday, my dream day. I woke up at 6 a.m., nervous but excited. My appointment at the beauty salon was at 7 a.m. I would spend the whole day there: hair, makeup, nails, everything. The wedding was at 6 p.m., so I had plenty of time. My grandmother's dress was hanging carefully in my room, covered with a protective garment bag. My grandmother had had it professionally cleaned, and it was in perfect condition. See you later, Grandma, I said as I left. She was still in her pajamas, planning to have a quiet breakfast. Go on, my child. You're going to look beautiful, she told me with a smile. I left at 6:45 a.m. for the salon. I spent the whole day there. My hair was styled in an elegant vintage updo with soft waves. The makeup was classic: red lips, 60s style eyeliner, dramatic lashes. My nails were done in a chic French manicure. At 4 p.m., they were finished. I looked incredible, ready to put on my dress and become a bride. I arrived home at 4:20 p.m. I still had plenty of time. The wedding was at 6 p.m., and the venue was only 20 minutes away. I entered the house and noticed it was unusually quiet. My grandmother had probably already gone to the venue to help with the final preparations there. I went upstairs to my room, excited to finally put on my wedding dress. But when I opened my bedroom door, the world stopped. My mother and Camila were there, each holding a pair of scissors. And on the floor, scattered in unrecognizable pieces, was my grandmother's dress. The delicate lace cut into strips, the fabric torn, the buttons ripped off completely, absolutely destroyed. And they were laughing. Laughing as if it were the funniest joke in the world. What did you do? I screamed, my voice coming out as a shriek of pure horror. They both turned around, startled, the scissors still in their hands. Oh, Sophia, my mother said with a cruel smile. You're home early. What did you do to my dress? I screamed again, falling to my knees, grabbing the pieces of shattered lace with trembling hands. It was necessary, Camila said in a cold voice. We can't let you outshine the one who truly matters. What are you talking about? I said between sobs, looking at the remains of what had been the most beautiful and meaningful dress of my life. My mother crossed her arms. Seriously, did you think we were going to let you look prettier than your sister? Camila is the older sister, the favorite, the one who must always stand out. You can't dress better than her. You can't steal her moment. It's my wedding. I screamed, tears streaming down my face, ruining my perfect makeup. My moment. It's not about her. Everything is always about Camila, my mother said simply. That's the rule in this family. She's the one who matters. You. Well, you're just the second choice. You always have been. Exactly, Camila added with a hateful smile. I am the star of this family. I'm not going to let you outshine me at your own wedding. That dress was too beautiful, too special. You don't deserve it. So, we fixed it. You're insane, I said, my voice breaking. You're insane. You ruined my wedding. You should thank us, my mother said. Now you won't make a fool of yourself wearing that old, outdated dress. Get yourself something simple, something that suits your level. I stayed there, kneeling on the floor, holding pieces of what had been the most precious family heirloom. My grandmother's wedding dress, completely destroyed by pure envy. My wedding was in less than 2 hours, and I had no dress. And then I heard footsteps on the stairs. At that moment, my grandmother walked into my room. "My child, did the dress I lent you fit? The dress I married your grandfather in?" My mother went completely pale. Qley dropped the scissors, her face draining of all color. "Grandma, Qley stammered. "What did you do to my dress?" My grandmother roared with a strength I had never heard in her voice. "What did you do?" She ran to the pieces on the floor, picking them up with trembling hands. No. My dress, the dress I got married in." "Mom, it was an accident," my mother began weakly. "It was not an accident," I yelled, getting to my feet. "I saw them. They were laughing while they destroyed it. They said I couldn't look prettier than Qley. They did it out of envy." My grandmother turned slowly towards my mother and Qley. Her face was red with fury, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Tell me it's not true," she said in a dangerously low voice. "Tell me you didn't destroy my wedding dress, a family heirloom, out of envy." My mother opened her mouth, but no words came out. "Speak," my grandmother shouted. We. "It's just that Sophia," my mother stammered. "Sophia was going to look better than me." Qley blurted out suddenly, her voice defensive. "That dress was too much. She can't look better than me. I'm the favorite. I'm the one who's supposed to shine." The silence that followed was absolute. My grandmother looked at Qley as if seeing her for the first time. "You just admitted that you destroyed my wedding dress because you were jealous of your sister." "It's not jealousy," Qley protested. It's the family hierarchy. Mom always said I'm the special one, the one who matters." My grandmother turned to my mother. "Did you teach her this? Did you create this monster?" "Mom, you don't understand," my mother began. "I understand perfectly," my grandmother shouted. "I understand that you raised a daughter so spoiled and full of envy that she destroyed an irreplaceable family heirloom. I understand that you have so shamelessly favored one daughter over the other that Qley believes she has the right to ruin her sister's wedding. I understand that both of you are envious, cruel bullies." "Mom, please," my mother pleaded. "That dress was an heirloom," my grandmother continued, her voice breaking. "It was the dress I married the love of my life in 55 years ago. It was a piece of family history. And you destroyed it because you can't stand to see Sophia happy. It's not our fault that Qley started." "Shut up," my grandmother roared. "I don't want to hear another word from your mouth. Not a single word." She turned to my mother. "Patricia, for years I have supported you. I have given you a free house, sent you money every month. I have paid all your bills, all because you were my daughter and I wanted you and my granddaughters to be okay. Mom," my mother reached out her hand. "But this," my grandmother continued, ignoring her, "this is unforgivable. Not only did you destroy my dress, an invaluable possession to me, but you did it to deliberately hurt Sophia, to ruin her most special day. Out of pure envy and cruelty. We can compensate you," my mother tried to say. "Compensate me?" my grandmother screamed. "How are you going to compensate for a 55-year-old dress? An irreplaceable family heirloom? The memories of my wedding? There is no amount of money in the world that can compensate for this." "Grandma, please," Qley sobbed, finally realizing the magnitude of what she had done. "Get out of my house," my grandmother said in a cold, final voice. "What?" My mother turned even paler. "This is my house. I lent it to you out of kindness. That kindness has ended. I want you to pack your things and leave. Today. Not tomorrow. Today. You can't kick us out," my mother yelled. We have nowhere to go. You should have thought of that before, my grandmother said without a shred of sympathy. And for your information, the monthly money ends too. The bill payments end. Everything ends. Fend for yourselves. Mom, please, my mother begged, falling to her knees. We're your family. Sophia is my family, my grandmother said, standing by my side and taking my hand. You are two envious and cruel women who don't deserve another cent of my help. But we have to pay for the dress, Camila began. Oh, yes, my grandmother said with a humorless smile. You owe me $50,000 for the dress. You can consider it an official debt. And until you pay me back every cent, I don't want to see you near me or Sophia. We don't have $50,000. Camila cried. Then get jobs, my grandmother said coldly. Like Sophia has done her entire life. Work, save, and pay me back. In the meantime, get out of my house. Mom, you can't do this to us, my mother cried. I can and I will, my grandmother said. You have 1 hour to get your essentials. You can pick up the rest later when I'm not here. But you are leaving today. Now pack and get out of my sight. My mother and Camila stood there in shock, staring at my grandmother with expressions of horror. What are you waiting for? My grandmother yelled. Out! They both ran out of my room, stumbling in their haste. My grandmother hugged me as I cried on her shoulder. I'm so sorry, Mija, I'm so sorry. My wedding is in less than 2 hours, I sobbed. And I don't have a dress. Yes, you will, my grandmother said with determination, wiping her tears. Let's go. I know a bridal boutique that does emergency rentals. We'll make it in time. We rushed out of the house while my mother and Camila frantically packed their things, crying and pleading. We ignored them completely. My grandmother drove like never before to an elegant boutique downtown. I have an emergency, she told the owner. My granddaughter is getting married in an hour and a half and she needs a dress. Anything, but now. The owner, moved by our situation, showed us her available dresses. We found a beautiful vintage-style one, not as old as my grandmother's, but gorgeous. It fit perfectly. We arrived at the venue at 5:50 p.m., 10 minutes before the ceremony. I put on the dress in record time. My grandmother helped me adjust it, and at 6:05 p.m., I walked down the aisle. David was waiting for me with tears in his eyes. You're beautiful, he whispered when I reached his side. The ceremony was perfect, intimate, emotional, filled with love. My mother and Camila didn't show up, and honestly, the wedding was better without them. At the reception, my grandmother gave a beautiful speech. Sophia has always been special, she said in an emotional voice, the hardest working, the noblest, the one who deserves all the happiness in the world. And today, she begins her new life with the man who truly loves her. The following months were transformative. My grandmother kept her word. She threw my mother and Camila out of the house. She completely cut off the monthly money and the bill payments. The two of them had to go live with my Aunt Raquel, my mother's sister, who took them into her small apartment but made it clear they would have to work. My mother got a job as a cashier at a supermarket. Camila, after weeks of resistance, finally accepted a job as a saleswoman in a boutique. Both were earning minimum wage, facing the consequences of never having worked for the first time in their lives. My grandmother gave me the house. It's yours, my child, she said firmly. You and David live here. Start your life together in a home that is completely yours. Grandma, that's too much, I protested. It's not, she said. You always worked, always contributed, were always responsible. You deserve this. And besides, she added with a smile, I like the idea of this house finally having someone living in it who values it. My mother and Camila, of course, did not accept this quietly. They would show up at the door every week, ringing the bell, pleading. Sophia, please, let us come back," my mother would beg. "We can't live with your aunt. The space is tiny. We're sharing a room, sleeping on the floor." "You should have thought about that before you destroyed Grandma's dress," I would reply each time, without opening the door completely. "It was a mistake." Camila would yell. "A moment of madness. You can't punish us forever." "I'm not punishing you," I'd say calmly. "I'm just living my life without envious and toxic people in it. This is my house now, and you are not welcome." "But we're family," my mother would insist. "A family doesn't destroy their daughter's wedding dress hours before her wedding," I'd reply. "A family doesn't so blatantly favor one daughter that the other grows up feeling invisible. You are not my family. You are just two women who shared a roof with me and made my life miserable." Eventually, they stopped coming as often. The constant rejections finally sank in. For the first time in my life, I was completely free. Free from comparisons, free from being the second choice. Free from living in the shadow of a favored sister, free from a mother who never valued me. I lived in a beautiful house with the man I love. I had a grandmother who adored me. I had peace, happiness, and the satisfaction of knowing I had taken control of my life. My mother and Camila lost everything: the free house, the monthly money, the paid bills, and the relationship with the only person in the family who truly had resources and generosity. And I gained everything: a home, a wonderful husband, freedom, and the validation that I always deserved to be valued. My grandmother's dress could never be repaired. It was a devastating loss for both of us. But in a way, its destruction revealed the true colors of my mother and sister and freed me from years of emotional abuse. Today, a year after my wedding, I am living happily. My grandmother comes for dinner every week. David and I are expecting our first child. The house is full of love and plans for the future. And my mother and Camila are still working jobs they hate, living in a tiny space, finally facing the consequences of a lifetime of envy, laziness, and cruelty. Some people learn, others just suffer the consequences. And I am finally free to be happy. Subscribe for more daily stories. M.